All right, section 7.4 is on special right triangles. And the first special right triangle we're going to talk about is a triangle that is 45, 45, 90, which means that two angles are 45 and the last angle is 90. And we're going to learn what is special about this triangle. So what a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle looks like is two of the angles are the same, and they both will be 45 degrees. And the third angle is a right angle. Okay? And so if we call one of these x, okay, the other angle is also x, or the other leg is also called x, because since both angles are 45, the opposite sides are going to be the same as well. Okay, and these are called legs, by the way. Okay, and then the hypotenuse in a 45, 45, 90 triangle would be the leg times the square root of 2. Okay, so we have x and x are the two legs. The hypotenuse would be x times square root 2. So whatever the leg is, the hypotenuse is that number times the square root of 2. Okay, and off to the right, we're going to fill in the blanks here. In a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the hypotenuse is equal to the leg times square root 2. So h equals L times square root 2, meaning hypotenuse equals leg times square root 2. And this is only true in a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay, that's the only time this is true. So if we look at example 1, it says find hypotenuse length in 45, 45, 90 triangle. Find the length of the hypotenuse. All right, so in this problem, we know that one angle is 45 and one angle is 90. Okay, and remember in a triangle, the angles add up to 180. So to find that third angle, you would do 180 minus 90 minus 45. And this third angle has to be 45 because 45 plus 45 plus 90 is 180. So that means these two legs are both going to be 6. These are the legs. Here's a leg, and this one's a leg. The hypotenuse is what we're looking for, so we're going to call this x. So remember, in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the equation is hypotenuse equals leg times square root 2. So the hypotenuse is x, and the leg is 6. So the hypotenuse in this one is going to be x equals 6 square root 2. Okay, and the biggest thing is you have to know this equation right here. In number 2, you can see that two of these side lengths are the same. So that means that the opposite angles also have to be the same. So the opposite angles would be 45. Again, because 90 degrees plus 45 plus 45 equals 180. So that's why they have to be 45, because they're the same and they got to add up to 180. So the legs are 4 square root 2. The hypotenuse, again, we will call x, because that's what we're looking for. Or this is h for the hypotenuse, we could say. So the hypotenuse is h, and h equals the leg times square root 2. So in this case, h equals 4 square root 2 times square root 2. Okay, 4 square root 2 times square root 2. So 4 square root 2 times square root 2 is really 4 times square root 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. And then 4 times the square root of 2 is 4 times 2. And 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, and we kind of did that in our head as we went by hand. You could easily type that in a calculator and get h equals 8. Example 2 says we're going to find the lengths of a leg in a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So this time, we see the two legs are both x, which means that these angles have to be 45. Because they're the same, so it's got to be isosceles. So start with our formula. The hypotenuse equals the leg times the square root of 2. So the hypotenuse is 9 square root 2. The leg is x. So we get 9 square root 2 equals x times square root of 2. How do we get x alone if it's x times square root 2? The opposite, or the inverse, of times square root of 2 would be divide by square root of 2. So square root of 2's cancel on the right, and the square root of 2's cancel on the left. We get 9 equals x, or x equals 9. So the leg is going to be 9. And then we have some checkpoints. All right, find the value of x. So in number 1, x is the hypotenuse, and these two sides that are the same, the 2 square root of 2, that would be the leg. So if we were trying to find the hypotenuse, use the formula h equals L square root of 2, because it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and h is x, the leg is 2 square root of 2, so we end up with x equals 2 square root of 2 times square root of 2, because we put in, for the leg, we put in the 2 square root of 2. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is the square root of 4. Right? And the square root of 4, we all know, is 2. Okay, so we plugged in the values into our equation. Here's the equation. You plug in x for h, because h is the hypotenuse, and in this case, the hypotenuse is x. And you put 2 square root of 2 in for L. We end up with 2 times square root of 4, which is really 2 times 2, so x is 4. In number 2, the hypotenuse is 12 square root of 2, and the leg is x. So if we use our equation, h equals L square root of 2. H is 12 times square root of 2. L is x. Okay, again, that comes from up here. The leg is x. The hypotenuse is 12 square root of 2. So to get x alone, it's x times square root of 2. The opposite, or the inverse of times square root of 2, would be divide by square root of 2. So 12 equals x. Okay, so the big takeaways from today are the equation for a 45, 45, 90 triangle. When you're trying to find the side lengths, the equation is h equals L square root 2. And then from there, you substitute in for the hypotenuse and for the leg, and you can find your missing sides. Right, and that's all we got for today.